All right. Welcome everybody in. People join in from high atop the world headquarters of Southeastern Fly. This is the fastest 15 minutes in fly fishing. So here we go. I'm David Perry with Southeastern Fly. Back up just a minute here and talk about what we discussed last week. Last week we discussed the different types of fly rods as far as the different weights and what they might do. And this week we got a little bit more maybe controversial. I don't know if it's a more controversial topic or not. We're going to talk about catch and release, and specifically something that happened on the fishing vessel Southeastern Fly last week. So let's talk about catch and release. Hey Vernon, let's talk about catch and release. I'm going to give a disclaimer first, just so everybody knows where I stand on catch and release. I don't care if you catch and release or not. There you go. I said it. I repeat myself. I do not care if you catch and release or you don't catch and release. Doesn't matter to me. Just try to stay within the law, right? So that being said, there's two kinds of jackholes. Okay, jackholes is a relative term that that refers to some people, folks, types of people that I've seen on the river over the past several years, probably all my life. I really think about it. The first guy is throwing back after they've been on a stringer and they're dead guy. So he wants to cull his fish. He wants to, if he catches a bigger fish, if he catches a 13-inch fish and then catches a 14-inch fish, he's going to throw that 13-inch fish back. If he catches a 12-inch fish and he's got a 9-inch fish, he's going to throw that 9-inch fish back. But he's going to do it after they've been on a stringer and after they're dead. So really, those fish are no good to nobody, not even him. You get a little bit of thrill out of fighting a 9-inch fish that you think you're going to keep. Then boom, you catch a bigger fish. That fish is, the 9-inch fish is dead. You throw the bigger fish on the stringer. I don't know why people do this, but people do it. So that's the throw back after they're dead on a stringer guy. There's another guy. This guy is the guy that walks around the parking lot after he's caught a stringer full of fish and says, "Hey, do you want these fish? Do you want these fish? Do you want these fish?" If you're going to go ahead and take the time to catch them, hang them on a stringer, and do all that stuff, you might as well, hey Angela, you might as well go ahead and clean them yourself and eat them, right? Even if you've got just one. If you've made the decision to keep a fish, then clean it yourself, eat it yourself. Don't drag it around the parking lot and drag it through the mud and then ask people if they want it. No, they don't want it. They want to keep their own fish. They want to catch their own fish. They want to keep their own fish. They want to clean their own fish, generally. Unless it's the guy that can't catch fish and he just definitely wants them, which is fine. I get it. Hey, Daniel. Dan Munger has joined us. All right. We're getting somewhere now. I don't know. Maybe we are somebody after all. Anyway, so that's the two types of people that they're just jackholes. We don't like them. We don't like what they stand for. We don't like what they do. That's my opinion. So that shouldn't be your opinion, but if it is, great. But if it's not, that's great too. If you are one of those people, fine. I doubt that anybody watching this is, but if you are, fine. Just try not to let me see you, because those are generally the people that I'm going to say something to. So anyway, so here's what's going on. I posted a picture, and I'll post it again in the comments section on Facebook, and then you can see it on the feed on Instagram. So I posted a picture. Tell you a little bit about this picture and why I like catch and release so much. This has happened to me twice that I can document, that I was around or conscious enough to say, hey, this might be the same fish. So about 3 weeks, 4 weeks ago, something like that, probably 4 weeks ago now, I was fishing with Greg. Greg and I fish together 3 or 4 times a year, and we left the ramp and took off. We started catching some fish, or Greg did, rowing through a particularly pretty good section, and Greg gets this fish on. I can tell immediately it's a little bit better fish. It's not the biggest fish in the river, but it's a little bit better fish. So as Greg's fighting this fish, I'm just sitting back there not really doing anything. We've got the boat. The boat's actually sitting on what is normally a gravel bar, but this particular time of year, it's got a lot of grass laying on it. So we've got the boat there. He's fighting this fish, and as he's fighting the fish, I notice, all right, it's coming to the boat, but with the boat anchored up on the grass, I feel like the fish is probably going to get into the grass. So I jump out of the boat with the net, like all good gillies do, and I go up there. Greg gets the gets the fish under control, brings it to the net. Boom, we got a pretty nice fish. It's actually a pretty nice fish. It's 16, 17, 15 inches. I don't know. It's somewhere between 15 and 17 inches. I don't remember if we measured it, but I think we did, but I couldn't tell you for sure. So let's just call it 15 inches just for the sake of calling it something. So we get a picture for Greg so that he can show it off to his daughter Brooke, who couldn't make it on the trip, I guess, which is pretty cool. And if that wasn't enough, we held it in the water, got it ready to release. We even filmed it being released. Put it back. We continued our day. Fast forward 33 days. So 33 days went by. This time I'm fishing with Marshall and his son Alex. So they're fishing. We left the same ramp. Kind of basically repeated the day that Greg and I had, with just a few more fish because we had 2 anglers. But as we're floating and talking, and I said, well, let's fish over here. And I wanted to fish there because Greg had caught a nice fish, and I thought, well, maybe there's another nice fish over there. So as we're floating into that section, I told Marshall, I said, hey, cast right over there in the shade, because sometimes fish hang out in shade, probably because they don't have eyelids. I don't know. So anyway, this fish is Marshall is fishing from the back of the boat, and he casts over there. He throws in a pretty good min there. Boom. Indicator goes down because we're nymph fishing. Everything's looking good. He starts fighting the fish, and it's tugging, and he's tugging back, and we're having a pretty good fight. I'm trying to get the boat in position. We had floated off that same grass flat by a little ways. And all of a sudden, Marshall goes, yeah, I think he's just stopped. And I said, surely he's not. What's going on? And he said, it's just stopped. He said, the fish has stopped. I think I'm hung up in a log or in a stump or something. So I row over there. He's tugging on the rod a little bit. Nothing's happening. I said, all right, so it's hung up. We'll just pull it off. So he hands me the rod, and I got a little bit different angle, and I lay the rod in the water and kind of do this with it, trying to get it to come out, And all of a sudden I feel it tug back, and I said, hey, I think this fish is still on there. So we get it unwrapped from the log that it's around, the lines around, and I back the boat out into the water. And as we back the boat out in the water, he gets it back under control where everything's looking good. We get in the net, we take a picture, we release it, video of the release, everything's good. We fish the rest of the day. They catch a bunch more fish. Everything's looking good. We get back to the ramp that we started at, and Greg walks up. He and his daughter Brooke are fishing down there, and I said, "Hey, you're not going to believe this, but Marshall caught a really nice fish right where you caught that other nice fish last time." And he was like, "Oh, it's probably I think he said, I bet that's the same fish, or maybe he said that could be the same fish. I don't remember. Nonetheless, so I'm like, yeah, it could be." A couple of days went by, and I'm sitting around, and I'm thinking, hey, wait a minute, I never did look at that fish. So I get the 2 pictures up. Fortunately, they are the same picture, kind of the same, which we all have this, this whole thing of showing our pictures, showing our fish. Catch, photo, and release is kind of what we like to do. Actually, it's catch, photo, revive, release, but that sounds like a hashtag. So anyway, I'm looking through there, and fortunately we've got the picture of the same view of the fish, and I start looking at spots. Now, in my opinion, every fish has a different spot. This one had 4 right across underneath his eye, all the way back to the gill plate, and then the last one was a big one, and you'll see a picture of it. And I'll let you decide for yourself if this isn't the same fish or not. So as I'm looking through there, I'm like, hey, crap, this is the same. It's got to be the same fish. So I put the pictures on a text, shoot it off to Marshall, shoot it off to Greg on the same text, and just ask them, hey, does this look like the same picture? So after some banter back and forth about who caught the biggest fish, both of them agreed, hey, this is the same fish. So does catch and release work? Absolutely. It absolutely works. Is there some mortality in catch and release? There probably is. That's not the first fish that we've caught and released again. So looking back this one's pretty funny. Looking back, it's probably been 8 years now. Fishing, we were on a 2-boat float with some friends, and one of my friends whipped out a picture at the end of the day, and they were on the other boat of a quote unquote, a 24-inch fish. Really nice brown. Told us exactly where he caught it, in the exact section of the river that he caught it in. About 3 months later, floating that section with a client and caught a 23-inch fish. Again, both of them took a picture of the fish. Both of us released the fish. So whenever I got back, I was like, man, you're not going to believe this, Dan, but we caught that, what I think is that same fish. I said, can you give me a picture of it? So he did. And we agreed again that it was the same fish. Even though he said it was 24, we measured it at 23. I don't know if fish shrink over age or what, like us humans do sometimes. But nonetheless, it's a long way around the barn to say, yes, catch and release works. Is everybody going to do it? No, probably not. Is it okay if you don't? It's okay. So what? You don't catch and release? Great. I hope you eat them all. I hope you don't just end up throwing them out. And I hope you're not throwing them back in the river after they've been dead on a stringer guy. And I hope you're not walking around the parking lot trying to give them away guy. Because we don't care much for dead on a stringer guy or parking lot guy. Those two, not so much. Anyway, so that's catch and release, and that's why we do it. Always want to go back and catch it. Really, we want them to grow another inch the next time we catch it. But sometimes that catch and release that you caught and released 33 days ago makes the trip of the trip, makes a better trip out of the one that's 33 days later. So that's our spill, my spill on catch and release. Everybody's got their spill, and that's fine with me. However you want to handle it is perfectly fine with me. So anyway, there's catch and release. Let's move on to the fly fishing toolbox. So this one's more about, and I've just got a couple of minutes here, so here we go. This one is more about fly tying. I found these really neat little tackle boxes here. This one is from Orvis. Got a little doohickey here, a little snap right there. It even says Orvis. There are different compartments going, right? This thing is full of different size beads and different colors. If you don't have your beads in a box like that, I highly recommend getting it. Why? Because it's so much more organized, takes up so much less space, and under the duck back here, there's a drawer full of beads, and I'm not going to dig through those. A lot of times I'll just settle for whatever's on the counter if I don't have a box to put them in. So highly recommend you get you a box that will hold beads. One, that'll hold a bunch of different beads. Two, that locks so that you can close it up, especially if you travel. So sometimes I'll do fly tying classes and that sort of thing. If I'm doing those, I'm traveling. Last thing you want to do is go around a corner or hit a bump, get on two wheels on the way there, whatever, and have all those beads go flying around the car. So always want to have it to where you can lock up your box of beads so that they don't fall out, or you knock them off the table when you first get there and you spend the next 30 minutes picking them up, and people coming in the fly shop try to help you. Yes, I've done that before. It's not cool. It's not fun. So I highly recommend getting a box with a lock on it so that it locks up tight. That's not just any old box that you get off of Amazon. Make sure that you get your hands on it. I suggest going to the fly shop, whoever your fly shop is, go to them and get a box that has a lock on it with a bunch of different compartments. Put your beads in there, the ones that you use the most. We all kind of tie the same flies for the most part that we know work. We all have our favorite flies, and getting your beads in the box for those favorite flies is a good way to organize yourself. Anyway, that's it. That's the fastest 15 minutes in fly fishing right there. So we talked about catch and release. I gave you my spill, my disclaimer. I don't care if you do or if you don't. Doesn't matter. I'd rather you did, but hey, as long as you're within the law, that's great. We don't like catch them and put them on a stringer and throw them back after their dead guy, and we don't care much for the parking lot guy either. If you're going to walk around the parking lot trying to give them away, maybe you should have released them in the first dang place. Other than that, we know catch and release works. We like catch, photo, revive, and release. Say that 10 times, or say it twice, or try to say it once. Anyway, there you go. That's the fastest 15 minutes in fly fishing. Just got a message that Wesley caught a pretty nice fish on some flies that I gave him today. That's a good sign. So there you have it. We'll start doing this at 6 o'clock every Tuesday, unless I'm on the river or have another appointment like we did last week. Anyway, thank you for joining us, and talk to you later. See you, Facebook. Thanks.